Hello, everybody. Hey, are you ready for Testy Tuesday? Yep, Testy Tuesday. When I quiz you on things that we've already talked about and some things that we've never talked about. Just want to see how much you know. And this is something we've talked about before. One of the three big Older Testament prophets was actually probably at least three different prophets whose works were combined into one scroll, into one book. Who was that prophet? Who was actually probably three different people. Was it Isaiah? Was it Jeremiah? Or was it Ezekiel? This could be tough. Well, the answer is Isaiah. We often refer to 1st Isaiah, 2nd Isaiah, and 3rd Isaiah because it's very evident that 1st Isaiah, the first 39 chapters of the book, were written before the people were carried off into exile, into Babylon. And then 40 through 55, those chapters were written, for the most part, by someone who was promising return from exile, but at that time they're in exile in Babylon. And then the rest of Isaiah is 3rd Isaiah. Once the people have returned, this is his words from God for the people. Basically words of encouragement for them to keep moving ahead and pressing on in their efforts to rebuild and return to the land. And that's where we're at in our lesson for this coming Sunday. It's Isaiah 62, the first 5 verses. And I just want to read the first part and then ask you another question. Here it goes. For Zion's sake, I will not keep silent, and for Jerusalem's sake, I will not rest, until her vindication shines out like the dawn, and her salvation like a burning torch. The nations shall see your vindication, and all the kings your glory. And you shall be called by a new name that the mouth of the Lord will give. And it goes on in that vein, okay, for a couple of verses. Now here's my question. Who exactly is speaking? Who is talking? Is it God speaking to the world, so to speak, saying, I won't rest until these good things happen to my people? Or is it someone else, like the prophet himself, who's standing up for the people, interceding for the people to God, saying, we're not going anywhere till you fix this mess? You see how it can be read either way? And in fact, scholars differ on exactly what's going on here. But in the end, what I found is a lot more scholars seem to think that it is the prophet himself who is standing up, advocating for the people, and giving them a heaping dose of, come on, let's all stick together in this. No, it's not easy, but we're going to get through it. And by the way, come on, God, do your thing right now. Vindicate your people. It's a beautiful, beautiful psalm. It's all in poetry. A lot of parts of 3rd Isaiah are in poetry. And we lose so much in our English translations simply because you can't pick up the alliteration, you can't pick up how the words kind of fit together smoothly, and they have a sing-song quality and rhyme to them in the Hebrew poetry. I'll just give you a very quick for instance here. For Zion's sake, I will not keep silent, and for Jerusalem's sake, I will not rest. Keep silent and not rest, those English words actually sound an awful lot the same in Hebrew. It would be almost like saying, for Zion's sake, I will not hush and I won't be shushed. I will not hush and I won't be shushed. So you have that sort of thing going through this whole section of Isaiah, and we miss out on that, and it's kind of too bad. But at the same time, the message comes through loud in and clear. All right, things aren't good. The people have returned from exile, and they thought, oh boy, we're just going to jump right in there and bang, bang, bing, bing. We're going to have the city rebuilt and everything's going to be hunky-dory. And it's not. I mean, they run into all kind of trouble. There's internal squabbling. There's conflicts with the people who didn't go into exile and remain behind. It's kind of messy, to say the least. But here, the prophet is making intercession to God for the people. And it gets better as the poem goes on. You shall be a crown of beauty, speaking to Jerusalem, to Zion, in the hand of the Lord, a royal diadem in the hand of your God. You shall no more be turned forsaken. You're not going to be called forsaken anymore. Your land shall no more be termed desolate. No, that's not going to happen. You shall be called, my delight is in her. My delight is in her. And your land will be called married. For the Lord delights in you, and your land shall be married. For as a young man marries a young woman, so shall your builder marry you. And as the bridegroom rejoices over the bride, so shall your God rejoice over you. So it ends up being a really good word of hope and promise for the people in the midst of the pain and the suffering that they're still going through. Even though they've returned home, it's not all a bed of roses. Now, why this lesson for this Sunday, this Older Testament lesson? Why we have it? Because our gospel lesson is, believe it or not, a wedding. We had that reference right here, where the land is supposedly being married to God. And so there's covenant relationship going on, an intimate relationship going on. All those things are going to happen once again to the people of Israel. But in our New Testament gospel reading from John, Jesus is at the wedding at Cana, and you all know what happens. They run out of wine. His mom comes and says, hey, Jesus, do something. Who, what, me? This isn't my wedding. It's not my time to do anything. No, it is. And this becomes the first of the signs that John has that point toward who Jesus is. So a great Old Testament reading to be paired up with our gospel reading that we have for this Sunday. And it all says this: our God blesses us abundantly in surprising ways. Just wait and see. Well, God's blessings be with you. Hopefully you passed the test, and remember that, this prophet Isaiah is probably three different guys who wrote at three distinct periods of the people as they were preparing to go into exile, while they were in exile, and once they had returned. And to be honest, all those different time frames, things weren't great for the people. And yet, the word of hope is spoken in each and every one of them to the people. God's blessings be with you, and enjoy your day.